Please welcome to the stage Yuri Schneller, co-founder of Cosmonauts and Kings.
Hello together. It's a great privilege to be here actually today on stage and talk with you about a concept that is very central to us, and that is the question of data as political capital and why it is one of the most crucial questions of our times. I'm Yuri. I'm a co-founder of Cosmonauts and Kings. We're a Berlin-based startup. We love politics, we love data, and we love tech. And also we love to empower organizations, parties, people every single day. And what we have to talk about today is the elephant in the room. And that is that the weaponization of technology and data that has been heavily happening since 2016 and will likely again happen in 2020 in the upcoming presidential elections is one of the key questions. Because if we think about all the issues like fake news, hate speech, increasing polarization, also all these things together combined are at the central question that we have to understand that our democracy is under attack. And the weaponization is likely to increase. The polarization in our societies, the surge of populism, all these things together are something that we need to tackle now. And even worse, authoritarian regimes are using social information warfare at scale to strategically undermine what's at stake, and that is the trust in our democracies, to strategically undermine not just the trust in our public institutions, but also very much the trust amongst groups, the increasing polarization of people. And for us, the more important question is even that at the central question is that at the heart, there will be also the issue of the question that democracy ultimately will be not just dedicated to the part of sorry, I lost my point. I'm pretty nervous, guys. That's my first time on an international stage. We're coming from Berlin. We're very excited to be here, so sorry. It's like, I was like going through the script and all these things in mind, and we just have 5 minutes, so I would love to talk about this for hours because this is so passionate for me, but I only have these few minutes. But at the core question will also be if information technology will make democracies more feasible with the question of centralized data processing, or dictatorships will be more effective. So we have to understand that algorithms ultimately were designed to maximize user attention, to maximize the question of selling things. But products are not for people. And for us, the biggest question of all is that how democracy that is not built on profit but by people is shaped. And for us, really the biggest question is, how can we define that? So if I would be standing here on a marketing conference, we all could call it a day, shrug our shoulders, and really say, okay, guys, this is it. But honestly, it's not about selling products. It's about the core of our democracy and the principle that is at stake. And we need to understand that the core pillar of that is, for us, how do we treat data, and how do we define it as the key question, that data is the new political capital, full stop. It has the potential to transform entire societies, to really not just transform the societies, but be able to help us to the question, come to the point if we democratize the data, and how do we define it as the central question. So it is the power that lies in it. But one thing we have to understand, and that is when we talk about data as political capital, we only talk about the very few political campaigns around the world. We talk about the 1%. We talk about big races worldwide with all the technology available. They can hire entire armies of agencies, pollsters, cutting-edge data, all these things. But we leave out the vast majority where politics happens. And this is on a local, on a regional level, where most of the decisions are being shaped and decided. And that is, to the point where we have to understand that when we want to unleash data and the question of data ownership and give it back to the people, that we can unlock the potential to the 99% of the campaigns. And that is where change happens. So we have to ask ourselves the question that we have to understand that we're not just going to stop crawling the data, but empower citizens to use it. Because we need to see that algorithms were designed to maximize user attentions, and we need to give the people the power and the full ability to control, to say, be free, that people are free to decide what kind of data is being collected on them, that they have a right to know what kind of data are interest groups or campaigns collecting on them. Be free to decide to whom to transfer the data, on what kind of purposes, so I can support a cause I believe in, and ultimately also be able to delete data at any given time indefinitely. So we have to reinvent the question of data ownership in democracies. We have to put citizens at the core of the process. We are the sovereigns of our data, and not anonymous corporate monopolies that actually can decide what to do with our data. So we can empower political parties, candidates, governments, social causes, and put them at the center. So we have to ensure that data, if we treat it as a political capital, it needs to be transferable, it needs to be usable, it needs to be accessible for everyone, and this needs to happen now. So we have to say, okay guys, like if this is it, and the time is crucial, and we see how democracies worldwide are under attack, and polarization is increasing, that the time to protect our democracies is now. And we need to define and stand up and say, are we willing and able to make bold moves? Or are we going to get Silicon Valley away with all the questions that they're raising, about how we still can create meaningful interaction in a world of increasing polarization and fear and division? So we have to empower citizens. We have to give them the data that they can use for political purposes they believe in, and it's time to empower them through data. So the only question is, are you in? Are you on us on that mission to really be able to use that data for your purposes, and also that we are still able to wake up tomorrow and in the next years to come in a society that is free, that is open, that is tolerant, and most importantly, democratic. So I'm very much grateful for the opportunity. Sorry guys, I was so nervous, but thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the